All right, Borak Adonai. Hallelujah. All right, beloved. So let's go with this. We're going into the book of Daniel. I heard the Lord saying, pride. You're going to deal with this thing. All right. All right. So we're going to do pride, and I heard the Lord saying Nebuchadnezzar, so we're going to study Nebuchadnezzar. We're going to read a lot of Bible. Daniel chapter 1. In the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came to Jerusalem and besieged it. And the Lord gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand, with some of the articles of the house of God, which he carried into the land of Shinar, to the house of his God. And he brought the articles into the treasure house of his common deity. Then the king instructed Ashpenaz, the master of his eunuchs, to bring some of the children of Israel and some of the king's descendants and some of the nobles, young men in whom there was not a blemish, but good-looking, gifted in all wisdom, possessing knowledge and quick to understand, who had ability to serve in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the language and literature of the Chaldeans. And the king appointed for them a daily provision of the king's delicacies and wine which he drank, and 3 years of training for them, so that at the end of the time they might serve before the king. He took the children of Israel to do this. Now, from among those of the sons of Judah were Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. To them the chief of the eunuchs gave names. He gave Daniel the name Belshazzar, and to Hananiah Shadrach, and to Mishael, Meshach, and Azariah Abednego. Command this itchy thing to stop right now, Jesus. Okay. But Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with a portion of the king's delicacies, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the chief of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. So he decided to say pure, hey, I'm not going to eat, I'm not going to drink from the king, so I'm sorry, it just ain't going to happen. Now God brought Daniel to the favor of the goodwill of the chief of the eunuchs. And the chief of the eunuchs said to Daniel, fear my lord, the king, who has appointed your food and drink. For why should he see your faces looking worse than the young men who are of your age? And then you would endanger my head before the king. So Daniel said to the steward, whom the chief of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hananiah, and Mishael, and Azariah, please test your servants for 10 days, and let them give us vegetables to eat and water to drink. Then let our appearance be examined before you, and the appearance of the young men who ate the portion of the king's delicacies. As you see fit, so deal with your servants. So he consented with them this matter, and tested them 10 days. And at the end of 10 days, their feet appeared better and fatter than in the flesh than all the young men who ate the portion of the king's delicacies. Thus the steward took away their portion of delicacies and wine which they were to drink, and gave them vegetables. All right. So here we go. And as for these four young men, God gave them knowledge and skill in all literature and wisdom, and Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams. Now at the end of the days, when the king had said that they should be brought in, the chief of the eunuchs brought them in before Nebuchadnezzar. And the king interviewed them, and among them all, none was found like Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, and therefore they served before the king. And in all matters of wisdom and understanding, about which the king examined them, he found them 10 times better than the magicians and astrologers who were in all his realm. And thus Daniel continued until the first year of King Cyrus. Chapter 2. Now in the second year of Nebuchadnezzar's reign, Nebuchadnezzar had dreams, and his spirit was so troubled that his sleep left him. And then the king gave a command to call his magicians. Look who he called. The astrologers, the sorcerers, the Chaldeans, to tell the king his dreams. So they came and stood before the king. And the king said to them, I have a dream, and my spirit is anxious to know the dream. Then the Chaldeans spoke to the king in Aramaic. O king, live forever. You know those who like to speak Aramaic, and they like to think that people don't understand? O king, live forever. Tell your servants the dream, and we'll give the interpretation. And the king answered and said to the Chaldeans, my decision is firm. If you do not make known the dream to me and its interpretation, you shall be cut into pieces, and your houses shall be an ash heap. However, if you tell the dream and its interpretation, you shall receive from me gifts, rewards, and great honor. Therefore, tell me the dream and its interpretation. They answered again and said, let the king tell his servants the dream, and we will give the interpretation. The king answered and said, I know for certain that you would gain time, or you're making up for time, because you see that my decision is firm. If you do not make known the dream to me, there's only one decree for you. For you've agreed to speak lying and corrupt words before me, till the time is changed. Therefore, tell me the dream, and I shall know that you can give me its interpretation. The Chaldeans answered the king and said, there is not a man on earth who can tell the king's matter. Therefore, no king, Lord, no ruler has asked such things of any magician, or astrologer, or Chaldean. It is a difficult thing that the king requests, and there is no other who can tell it to the king except the gods. See the common G? Whose dwelling is not with the flesh. And for this reason the king was very angry, very furious, and gave the command to destroy all the wise men of Babylon. So the decree went out, and they began killing the wise men. They were wise in their own eyes, not in God's eyes. So the decree went out, and they began killing the wise men, and they sought Daniel and his companions to kill him. Then with counsel and wisdom, Daniel answered Arioch, the captain of the king's guard, who had gone out to kill the wise men of Babylon. He answered and said to Arioch, why is the decree from the king so urgent? And then Arioch made a decision known to Daniel. So Daniel went in and asked the king to give him time, that he might tell the king the interpretation. Give him time. What does Daniel need to go and seek? What does he need to do? He needs to go and seek Jesus, Yahweh. He needs to go and fast unto him and pray. So Daniel went in and asked the king to give him time, that he might tell the king the interpretation. Daniel went to his house and made the decision known to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, his companions, so that they might seek mercies from God of heaven concerning the secret, so that Daniel and his companions might not perish with the rest of the wise men of Babylon. And then the secret was revealed to Daniel in a night vision. So Daniel blessed the God of heaven. He blessed the God of heaven. And he answered and said, Blessed be the name of God forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his. He changes the times and the seasons. He removes kings and he raises them up kings, and he gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to those who have understanding. Give me a sec. Okay. And knowledge to those who have understanding. He reveals deep and secret things. He knows what is in the darkness, and light dwells with him. I thank you and praise you, O God of my fathers. You have given me wisdom and might, and have now made known to me what we ask of you. For you have made known to us the king's demand. Amen. And therefore Daniel went to Arioch, whom the king had appointed to destroy the wise men of Babylon. He went and said, Thus says to him, Do not destroy the wise men of Babylon. Take me before the king, and I will tell the king the interpretation. Then Arioch quickly brought Daniel before the king, and said thus to him, I found a man of the captives of Judah, who will make known to the king the interpretation. So the king answered and said to Daniel, whose name was Belshazzar, Are you able to make known to me the dream which I have seen, and its interpretation? And Daniel answered in the presence of the king, and said, The secret which the king has commanded, the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, and the soothsayers cannot declare to the king. But there is a God in heaven who reveals secrets. Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, The secret which the king has demanded, the wise men, astrologers, and magicians, and soothsayers cannot declare to the king. But there's a God in heaven who reveals secrets, and he has made known to King Nebuchadnezzar what will be in the latter days. Your dream and the visions of your head upon your bed were these. Look what he says. As for you, O king, thoughts came to your mind while you were on your bed about what would come to pass after these, and he who reveals secrets has made known to you what will be. But as for me, the secret has not been revealed to me, because I have more wisdom than any one living, but for our sakes who make known the interpretation to the king, and that you may know the thoughts of your heart. You, O king, were watching, and behold, a great image. This great image, whose splendor was excellent, stood before you, and its form was awesome. This image's head was of fine gold, and its chest and arms of silver, its belly and its thigh of bronze, its legs of iron, its feet partly iron and partly clay. Sorry, I don't know. The devil is a liar. I'm getting sleepy. You watched a while till a stone was cut without hands, which struck the image on its feet of iron and clay, and broke them into pieces. That's Jesus. And then the iron and the clay divided Europe, the bronze and the silver, Greece, Medo-Persia, and the gold were crushed together, Babylon, and became like chaff from the summer threshing floors. The wind carried them away so that no trace of them was found. I can't, I'm not staying awake. Hold on. It's better. The stone that struck the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. This is the dream. Now we will tell the interpretation of it before the king. You, O king, are a king of kings. For the God, capital G, of heaven has given you a kingdom, power, strength, and glory. See, they're all common keys, right? Meaning he's recognized. And wherever the children of men dwell, or the beasts of the field, and the birds of the heaven, he has given them into your hand, and has made you ruler over them all. You are this head of gold. But after you shall arise another kingdom inferior to yours, then another, a third kingdom of bronze, which shall rule over all the earth. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, inasmuch as iron breaks in pieces and shatters everything. And like iron that crushes, that kingdom will break in pieces and crushes all the others. Whereas you saw the feet and toes partly of potter's clay and partly of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, yet the strength of the iron shall be in it, just as you saw the iron mixed with some ceramic clay. And its toes of the feet were partly of iron and partly of clay. So the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly fragile. And as you saw the iron mixed with ceramic clay, they shall mingle with the seed of men, but they will not adhere to one another, just as iron does not mix with clay. So what is that? It's the fallen angels mixed up, right? Alright, hold on. And in the days of these kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people. It shall break in pieces and consume these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Inasmuch as you saw that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it broke in pieces the iron, and the bronze, and the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great God has made known to the king what will come to pass after this. The dream is certain, and its interpretation is sure. Then King Nebuchadnezzar fell on his face and prostrate before Daniel. and commanded that they should present an offering and incense to him. The king answered Daniel and said, truly, your, capital G, God, is the God, capital G, of gods, common G, the Lord of kings, and a revealer of secrets, since you could reveal the secret. And then the king promoted Daniel and gave him many great gifts, and made him ruler over the whole province of Babylon, and the chief administrator over all the wise men of Babylon. Also Daniel petitioned the king, and he set Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego over the affairs of the province of Babylon. But Daniel sat in the gate of the king. Now, give me a second here. We're coming to verse 3. I don't know if I could wash it. Okay, just give me a second. Hold on.